What's going on, everybody? Got a rather simple comparison today, but I just wanted to do this just because I've actually got a fair few questions about this. People comparing different Glocks. It's kind of like comparing apples to apples, but I mean, what the hell? Why not do a little comparison on them? So I've got two Glocks here that I'm going to be comparing today. So the first one is the Glock 19X, and the second one is the Glock 17 Generation 5. So I'm just going to go over some of the differences with these, maybe compare it to a third gen as well, and just see maybe one or the other is going to be able to sell you guys on it. Anywho, let's get right into it. So what I want to go over is just certain features of the firearms and minor differences between one and the other to decide if maybe you as the consumer have a bias towards one or the other. So let's get into it. Starting it off, I'll start with the 19X and just give you a basic overview of it. So both the 19X operates on a kind of Gen 5 frame system, but not quite. So the 19X actually, there's two things you hear a lot of complaints on it about. And to me, personally, they're not really warranted complaints. It's more or less people bitching to, well, basically to bitch. It's completely ignorant complaints that people do, and they won't even take a second look at this gun. And this one actually, even to my surprise, was a very nice gun. Like it's a really nice gun to shoot. But those two complaints, both of which, like I said, are rather minute. Complaint number one, which is the bigger of the two, is they put a 17 frame with a 19 slide. So basically, you've got a full-sized grip, but a compact size, a compact size slide and barrel. Now, as you can see, this one actually has a slightly extended barrel. The reason for that is here in Canada, we do have minimum barrel length laws. So in order to be legal in the country, they have to add that extra little bit of barrel. So that's why that's there. This isn't. If you live in a free country, you're not gonna have that. So just ignore that little tip out the end there. Continuing our way along, so that's the biggest complaint. Now, the argument for that is because the gun is not good for concealed carry. Now, with concealed carry, it's a lot easier to conceal extra barrel length when it's sliding down than it is to conceal extra grip. James from TFB TV actually said it best. He says it's a lot easier to conceal an inch of barrel compared to an inch of butt, and that's true. That's absolutely true. Now, that being said, people are making that argument that Glock didn't listen to its customers. You know, this is not what the customer wanted. No shit. Glock did not build this for concealed carry. This is not a concealed carry firearm. This gun was built from the ground up for a military contract. This was not built for concealed carry. This was built to be carried in a duty holster. Open carried. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to come on here and say, well, you know, with the 19 slide, you can conceal carry for the military, this, and that, yada, yada, yada. Sure. But what I'm telling you is you need to think of this as a full-size duty gun, not as a concealed carry gun. It's not what it was built for. It's not what it was designed for. So that's one thing you definitely got to wrap your head around. I mean, if you're looking for a concealed carry gun, buy a designated concealed carry gun. Don't bitch and whine and moan to a manufacturer that has multiple different types of Glocks out there that are solely meant for concealed carry when you're complaining about a military designated firearm. Anywho, that's complaint number one. Complaint number two is the lanyard loop. So the amount of people that complain about that damn lanyard loop boggles my mind. Like it just everybody's freaking out about it. You know, why would they put a lanyard loop, all this, all that? It's the stupidest thing ever. So look, I'm gonna help you out right now, okay? If you do not like the lanyard loop, okay, if that is that big of a deal for you, what you can do is take your trusty little Glock tool or a punch or anything else, and you just simply do that. Okay, there. No more lanyard loop. See, I literally just solved 50% of the complaints on the Glock 19X right there. Okay, let's continue to go over the features here real quick. That's kind of turning into a rambling. So it's got the NPVD. It's either NPVD or NDLC. I can't remember. It's got the Glock's hardest finish yet on the slide. As you can see, it's more of a burnt bronze color. Again, this was part for military specification. These are single pin models. All the Gen 5s are. It does have adjustable back straps. This one, I don't have any back straps on this right now just because Glocks are bulky guns to begin with. But it does have your adjustable back straps. Up top, it's got the Glock branded night sights. I think I made a video before where I actually called these Trigicons. They are not Trigicons, they are the actual Glock branded night sights. They could be made by Trigicon, but they're Glock branded. And then down on the base of the grip, you have this, I'm going to call it a pinky rest. I don't really know why they did this, but I'm going to show you something shortly, and that may turn you off of this gun very quickly. Okay. Glock 17 Gen 5. This one was actually a gift from my girlfriend. I woke up one morning and she left this here for me, so that was pretty cool. I did an unboxing video of it with on a pistol collection. The video I did previous to this one, you can look it up if you want to. So with when the Gen 5 was released, everybody said, again, Glock's not listening to its customers to a certain extent, but people were nitpicking at it. So some of the nitpickings were up front that the frame isn't quite beveled like the slide is. Now Glock has, for the most part, fixed that issue. They're much better now. And they got rid of the finger grooves, which, you know, like when I generally I'm actually a pretty big fan of finger grooves, but when Glock removed those, I got to be truthful with you here. I've never been a huge Glock fan. I like Glocks, I'm not going to lie to you right there, but I've never been a huge Glock fan. But when they actually got rid of those finger grooves, it surprised me how much, when I grabbed the pistol, how much I actually like the gun without the finger grooves. So that just goes to show. So, like, I'll be real with you. I actually really like the Generation 5s. I really like the Gen 5 pistols. Comes with the standard Glock U-Dot box sights. And up front, rather than have that little pinky rest, it's actually got a cutout. So if you're removing a magazine with a malfunction, you can grab it up front. I don't like that idea personally. I think that's actually quite stupid. That they did it like that, because nobody grabs it like that. Most people, when they are grabbing a stuck magazine, they're pulling it out from the side. So that's just my opinion, but I mean, I'm sure somebody else will say how they do it like that. I mean, more power to you. Both pistols got the Gen 5 stippling, Gen 5 large magazine release, as well as the ambidextrous slide stop. So both of them have it on the left and the right hand side. Now, I've been hearing, actually, while I'm on the topic of that slide release, people have been talking about holster compatibility. So I've got right here, I've got a Safariland ALS holster. Don't even ask me the model number, there's so many of them. And they've been asking about, now this one's actually built for the Generation 4s, I believe. And they're asking about that, and it works just fine. Locks in just fine. I have no trouble removing the pistol. It sits in there. So yeah, the holsters, at least from what I've experienced, they work fine on both the 19X and the 17 Gen 5. Now, I'm gonna break the one down. So Glock says they reworked the trigger. They did some work to the trigger to just in general make it better. I'm gonna be real with you. It's still a spongy Glock. I don't feel a difference. Like, let me grab the Gen 3 here. I don't know. I don't feel a difference personally. They both feel the same to me. But I mean, maybe there is a difference. I honestly couldn't tell you. Now, if we go into field strip, so Glock did make a lot of changes with the Generation 5s. If we go into field strip here, I'm going to take this one down. So this I just discovered this. It's kind of neat. Not like pretty well nobody's talking about this. Is when you push it forward to start taking it apart. That's as far as you need to go, and then you can just simply lift straight off. You don't actually have to go all the way out like you see on the Generation 3. So on the Gen 3, you actually have to take the slide all the way off. Oops. You actually have to slide the slide all the way off. Where on the 5th gen pistols, when you cock it back, push it forward, you just need to push it forward enough to clear the back rail, and then you can just lift straight up. And then it comes apart. So that's pretty neat. I don't think that that's a selling feature, but I mean, it's neat. Oop. Try and give you a good look at that finish. Another big complaint you actually hear about the Generation 5s is that they still don't have front serrations. I'm kind of unbiased towards front serrations. I mean, sure, there's no reason not to have it, but I don't know. I guess again, it's for those people that do their press check. But I could be plus or against front slide serrations. They're really not of a big deal for me. Magazines. So the 19X obviously has its color-coded magazines, just like the 17 Gen 5. The Gen 5 comes with a orange base plate, just for like high visibility kind of thing. The 19X does not. It's just a standard black base plate. Both these magazines are made. Glock ships these to Canada with the made to 10, so it only holds 10. It's not like the 17 rounders that are pinned. Buy one of these because, like, I know people always complain about, especially Beretta. They're well known for this, how stiff their magazine releases are. You're gonna damn near break your thumb trying to load the last 2 rounds into these mags. They are super stiff. Now I'm sure they will work in eventually, but like, good lord. All right, now reliability. They're Glocks. Moving on. Getting into accuracy. I very seldom ever do accuracy or comment on accuracy in videos because accuracy is relative to the shooter, not the pistol. Any half decent, well-made pistol is going to be more accurate than the shooter. That's fact. Now Glocks, both these pistols do have their marksman barrel. Which is a complete and total sales gimmick, in my opinion. But you know what? They have accurized the pistols, and I honestly don't doubt that. I bet you, like, if you stuck this in a vice grip and shot it at a target, it's probably going to be more accurate than the Gen 4s and Gen 3s. I have no doubt about that. But most people generally can't outshoot a Generation 4, 3, 2, 1. So having that marksman barrel, like I said, it's more of a sales pitch than anything else. But getting into accuracy, I've got my 2 targets here. So at a distance of 10 meters, so this is the, which one's this? This is the Glock 17 Gen 5 at 10 meters. So you can see I viciously pulled 2. That was the first shot. No idea why I did that, because I shot both these pistols right back to back. But I mean, yeah. So that's the Generation 5. And then the 19X. So you can see I tightened up the 19X quite a bit. Now, again, guys, I'm going to be real. I'm not the most accurate shooter with Glocks. I'll be the first to admit that. I guarantee you a lot of people can do better. I'm just showing you how I did. And as you can see, I did substantially better with the 19X. Now, the reason for that, I personally feel, is the sights. I think the sights were a huge part to play in that. The 3-dot night sights, whereas you have on the Gen 5, you've got just standard factory Glock sights, which I hate. So I definitely feel that was one of the big reasons as to why I didn't do very good with the with this pistol. Now, if we get into another thing of parts compatibility with the older generation of pistols. So I'm going to field strip the generation. Yeah, I already safety checked it. Okay, so there's the Gen 5 field strip. I'm going to take apart my Gen 3 here. Okay. So just give you a look at the internals of the Gen 3. Single captured recoil spring in guide rod. So pay attention to the firing pin safety right there. See the Generation 5? It's very different. So the Generation 5s have certain parts that are not compatible with previous generations. Why Glock did that, I don't know, because Glocks have always been known for having their compatibility with all generations. With the Generation 5, they pretty much ended that trend. With certain parts, not all parts, but with certain parts, the Generation 5s are no longer compatible with other, with older generations, which to me is a kind of stupid thing to do, but if I had to guess, I'd say there's probably a reason for it. So I just continue with the internals on the Gen 5. The trigger has been reworked, like I said. Obviously, you have your ambidextrous slide stop. Generation 3. Jeez, this thing's actually a little dirty. I think I forgot to clean that. Overall, looks pretty similar, right? While the differences are minute, there are differences. The 19X internally looks the same as the Gen 5. Actually, you know what? Let me. I want to show you guys something else here. Okay. So this is the Gen 4. This is a 40 cal. This barrel has got about a little over 4,000 rounds through it. Do you see much in the way of wear? Yeah, there's a little bit. Not a lot. Let's grab the Generation 5 barrel. This barrel has 500 rounds through it. 500 on the dot. And look at the wear. That is very, very, very strange to me that wears that quickly. I don't know if that's wear or what that is exactly. At first, because the 19X did the same thing, I thought it was the color from the slide wearing off onto the barrel, but the marking is exactly the same. So these Generation 5s, I'm assuming it's that coating, the NDLC or NPVD, whatever it's called, is just wearing on that barrel rather substantially, which is strange. Now, obviously, wear means nothing like this to a pistol. It's absolutely nothing. You don't need to worry about it. I just found it very strange that it wears so soon. Anywho, this video is starting to drag on. There's one more thing I want to touch on. I'm going to put these back together. And it's probably going to be what turns you off of the 19X. Actually, I'm not going to put them together. I'll do that after. All right. Put this bad boy back together here. Okay, magazines. The Generation 5 is compatible with magazines from generations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's compatible with the Magpul magazines, and it's compatible with the 19X magazines. It also has a flared mag well, for those of you. In terms of speed shooting and speed reloads, this is easier to reload. I can tell you that right now. The 19X is compatible with magazines from generations 1 to 4, as well as its own. Here's a 40 cal magazine, throw that in there just to show you. That's a Generation 3. Now let's grab a Generation 5 magazine. Uh-oh. See that? That little pinky rest there blocks the base pad from the Generation 5 from going into the gun. Now, there's two ways to fix this. Way number one is you take this base pad off and you put a Generation 3 or 4 base pad on it. Problem solved. Way number two, which is what a friend of mine did with his 19X, is he took a Dremel tool and he just ground that off. The magazines, now, this has already been tested, so if you grind this off and make it flush with the rest of the grip frame, Generation 5 magazines will work. So take that for what it is. It's unfortunate. I'm definitely not happy about it, but it is what it is, kind of thing. Like I said, there are ways to fix that. I personally can't be bothered with it, but because I have a boatload of Generation 3 magazines, so it's all the same to me. But I just figured I would point that out. But yeah, those are the features and differences between the Gen 5 and the 19X. They're both absolutely great guns. They're both reliable as they should be. And they're both just good guns. Price. So when these came out, I bought these for $805. I bought this for $805 plus tax. This one, my girlfriend bought me for $750 plus tax. So obviously the 19X is more expensive. The price has shot up actually quite a bit by about $50 on the 19X. So depending, you're spending about $100 more on this one. If those features are worth it to you. Now, generally speaking, night sights cost about $100, $150 here in Canada. So the night sights alone kind of pay for it. But it's really a matter of opinion. And as one of the biggest things, actually, a lot of people always talk about is color. Is the color really for you? That's something you need to consider as well. But anywho, yeah, that's just... I was hoping it'd be a quicker comparison, but that's a comparison of the Glock 17 Gen 5 and the Glock 19X. They're both great guns. They both do what they need to do. It's just a matter of which one you would like. I would definitely, if you can, shoot them both. Speaking of shooting, I don't like talking about shooting because it's better to see it, but the 19X is much softer in terms of recoil. Like felt recoil, the 19X is substantially, and I mean that substantially softer. So that's something to take in consideration as well. Now, if I had to pick one or the other, personally, I would pick the Gen 5 here, the 17. For the simple reason of that nubby there, the pinky rest that blocks out the magazines. That's the only reason I would go for the Gen 5. If I grind that off, I'm telling you right now, I would probably pick the 19X. Anywho, thanks everybody for watching, and I will see y'all next time.